So look at the morula. Now, but if you observe, this morula and the zygotes that have already undergone mitotic cell division have the same size. Why? And why is this that? Lack of growth is critical for the mother safety. The first question is, why does the zygote and the morula have the same size in their diameter, or are identical in their diameter? And why is this lack of growth critical for the mother safety? Now, the second thinking challenge question is, what would happen if the zona pellucida hatch or disappear too early? So this is the zona pellucida. So what will happen if the zona pellucida hatch before it reaches the uterine tube? That's what they're trying to say. So I want you to pause for 5 seconds. I want you to think. I want you to meditate on this question and connect this question to ectopic pregnancy. It will give you an hint to answer this question before we review the question. So let's go and review the answer to this question. So the paradox of growth. So after fertilization, what happens? Cleavage occurs. What is cleavage? Rapid and repeated mitotic cell divisions. So cleavage, having cells, will now undergo mitotic cell division. So here's the question I want to ask you. What will happen if cleavage does not take place? Is there anything that will happen? So write down your questions and wait to in the next few seconds when I'm going to answer it. What will happen if cleavage does not occur? So, but cleavage is the mitotic cell division that occurs immediately after zygote is formed. So after the zygote is formed, the cell will divide to form two daughter cells inside. It will divide to form four daughter cells. It will divide to form 8 cells. It divides to now form 16 cells. From 16 to 32 cells, from 16 to 32 cells, we now call them morula. From 16 to 32 cells, we now call them morula. So cleavage will occur immediately after zygote. So when this cleavage first occur, embryoblast and trophoblast cannot be formed. Blastocytes cannot be formed, and therefore nothing will happen. No baby will be formed. That is the reason behind this cleavage. Cleavage must occur for fertilization to continue. So the cells inside this cleavages are called blastomeres. Now observe something. Both the zygote and the cleavage cells and the morula, they all have the same size. They all have the same size. This question, I'm going to ask you a question based on this. So let's go. Blastomeres tightly align via tight junction. They align via tight junction in 3 days. Location occurs during transport down the uterine tube. So the cleavage occurs during the transport down the uterine tube, whereby the cilia in the uterine tube will keep on moving. The cleavage or the cell that is the zygote that is undergoing mitotic cell division. Here's the second thinking challenge. The morula has 16 more cells than the zygote, yet their total diameter is identical. Now look at the zygote, and remember zygote is formed when the sperm and the egg or the oocytes fuse together. And when they fuse together, what is the next process that occurred? Cleavage. They now undergo mitotic cell division to form morula from 2 to 4, from 4 to 8, from 8 to 16. Make sure you write down something down before you now cross check it with the answer of these questions. So reductive division. The embryo must pass through the narrow isthmus. If the embryo grew in physical side, it will get stuck. So remember the question, the morula has 16 more cells than the zygote, yet their total diameter is identical. So the answer to this question is both have what? Zona pellucida. So this zona pellucida prevents them from growing in size. So they will have the same size, but inside there, they have too many cells than the zygotes. but the size will be the same because of the zonal pellucidal. So why is the lack of growth critical for the mother's safety? The lack of growth is critical for the mother's safety because the zygote now have both the maternal and the paternal tissues that have been fused together. Zygote is for when the sperm and the egg fuse together. So they now have both the maternal and the paternal chromosomes. So when they are exposed to the maternal tissues, they will react, and the mother will not be in a safety period. The mother's life will be endangered. So in order to prevent, or in order to avoid the mother from dying or from having some medical issues, the zonal pellucidal is there. This zonal pellucidal, one, prevents this reaction from happening, keep the mother safe, and it prevents early implementation and prevents ectopic pregnancy. So the second question is, what would happen if the zonal pellucidal hatch or disappeared too early? If the zonal pellucidal hatch or disappear too early, the answer to this question is they will start implementing the embryoblast and the trophoblast. The trophoblast will start implementing. Just have it in mind that implementation will take place in the uterine tube, which is bad, and which will now lead to ectopic pregnancy, which will now cause the uterine tube to rupture. And when they rupture, it will now lead to surgical operations, and the mother is immediately rushed to hospital in order to save her. So the zonal pellucidal perform a lot of functions in the woman body. So revelation. The premature implementation, the trophoblast cells are naturally sticky. So the zonal pellucidal acts as a non-stick coating. If the zonal pellucidal disappears early, embryos stick to the tuber wall. Tuber ectopic pregnancy, medical emergency.